Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to talk about something that seems super simple, but actually has some really cool twists. How a chess game actually ends. It's not just about winning or losing. Sometimes there's a third option that can totally catch you off guard. Let's dive in.
All right, let me ask you a question right off the bat. How do you win a game of chess? If you said by capturing the other person's king, well, you're not alone, but it's actually a super common misconception. In a real game of chess, the king is never ever actually captured and taken off the board. The game just stops the very moment that capture is unavoidable. So how does the game know when that moment happens? Well, it all starts with the king getting into a little bit of trouble. You can think of it as a warning shot, a little heads up. And in chess, this royal warning has a very specific name. It's called a check.
So what exactly is a check? It's pretty straightforward, really. It means the king is under direct threat. One of your pieces has moved into a spot where it could, on the very next turn, capture the enemy king. It's like you're pointing at their king and saying, "Hey, watch out, I'm coming for your king." And the rules are strict on this. Your opponent has to do something about that threat, right now, on their very next move. But here's the key thing about a check. It's just a warning. The game is definitely not over. The player who's in check has a few ways to get out of trouble. For example, they can just move their king to a safer spot. Or they can slide another piece in the way to block the attack. Or, even better, they can just capture the piece that's causing all the trouble. As long as they can do one of those things, they're safe and the game keeps going.
Okay, but what happens when that warning isn't just a warning anymore? What if it's final? Imagine the king is in danger, but this time, there's just nowhere left to run. No place to hide. That, my friends, is when a simple check levels up into the ultimate trap. That's checkmate. Checkmate is basically a check, but with one huge game-ending difference. There is absolutely no escape. The king is under threat, just like before, but this time, none of those escape plans work. You can't move the king to a safe square, you can't block the attack, you can't capture the piece that's threatening you, nothing. The king is completely and utterly trapped. And that's it. Game over. So let's just quickly look at them side by side. In both a check and a checkmate, the core idea is the same, right? The king is in danger. But it all comes down to one simple question. Is there an escape? If the answer is yes, it's just a check, and the game continues. If the answer is no, that's checkmate, and the game is over. It's really that simple. One's a problem you have to solve, the other one is the end of the line.
All right, so we've got check, that's the warning, and checkmate, that's game over. But get ready for a weird one. What happens if it's your turn to move, but you literally can't? Like none of your pieces can make a legal move. And here's the kicker. Your king isn't in danger. He's totally safe, but he's also totally stuck. What on earth happens then?
This weird situation brings us to one of the most fascinating and, honestly, sometimes one of the most frustrating ways a chess game can end. It's called a stalemate. And here's the thing about a stalemate. It's not a win. It's not a loss. It's a draw. It's this total plot twist right at the end of the game.
So for a stalemate to happen, you need two things to be true at the exact same time. Condition one, it's your turn, but you have zero, and I mean zero legal moves. Not with your pawns, not with your queen, not with anything. Condition two, your king is not in check. He's safe as houses, but he's also completely frozen in place, along with the rest of your army. If both of those things are true, boom, the game stops, it's a draw.
Okay, let's just tie this all together, because it really just comes down to a couple of simple questions. First, ask yourself, is the king being threatened right now? If the answer is yes, then you ask the next question. Can I make a move to escape? If you can, it's just a check. No big deal, the game keeps going. But if you can't escape, that's checkmate, you lose. But what if the answer to that first question was no? What if the king is not threatened? Well, then you ask, can I make any move at all? If you can't, that's our weird twist ending, stalemate. It's a draw.
And that brings up a really interesting question, doesn't it? Is a draw better than a loss? Well, think about it. If you're totally winning and you accidentally let your opponent get a stalemate, that's a disaster. It feels just like losing. But what if you're the one who's about to lose? If you're cornered and you can find some clever way to force a stalemate, suddenly snatching a draw from the jaws of defeat feels like a huge victory. It's something to definitely keep in the back of your mind. Anyway, thanks for hanging out and learning with me today.